Everyone having a good time tonight? When Josh asked me to speak, I was pretty much honored. I didn't know what I was going to talk about. Multifamily is one of the most boring things you could possibly talk about. And about 6 months ago, I started writing a book. And, I see MCs talking about legacy. And I interviewed a gentleman named Ken Honda. Does anybody know who Ken Honda is? He wrote the original book, Happy Money. He sold 8 million copies. He is the guru in Japan on happy money. And I said to myself, what is this happy money? What does he mean by that? And happy money just simply means money that you earn with positive energy, something that makes you really happy. This place is the personification of happy money. I personally think Josh is nuts. This is one of the hardest businesses to make money in, but he's not doing it to make money. That's not his only goal. He has a passion. He has a mission. He has a purpose. Vive with hundreds of employees, accountable equity with over 400 investors. That's a lot of work. But to him, that's his happy money. I spoke to Michael about a half an hour ago. He lit up. He's talking about this spa, immersion spa. To me, doesn't light me up. But to him, that's his happy money. And that's what I think we should all strive for. That's what we need to teach our children to make money with. I've struggled with money my entire life, my relationship with money. We're going to be talking about what our relationship with money is. And when I stumbled upon this happy money, that is my happy money. To be able to talk about money in a positive way, to be able to leave a legacy to your kids, and to be able to create that within the family, to teach our kids how to utilize money as a tool. Money is created. Money, what we need money to do for me personally is to create impact, right? Money is the result. I didn't understand these things early on, and that's my mission. Next one, baby.
Get there.
Yeah.
So this is absolutely beautiful. We were here not too long ago without the Christmas decorations. Oh my gosh. My kids now are going to go home and be like, we're going to, all new decorations. So I have to tell you, Josh and Melanie, amazing job. We're talking about the relationship with money, a little something, Irish background, Italian background. So we have different views, different upbringings. When we first got married, 1998, we lived in his mom's basement. It was a very beautiful little apartment, but he had a shoebox full of cash because that's when we used to use cash some time ago. And I would have to go in and get the cash and go shopping. And I just was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable taking out the cash because I came from a mother who everything was always too expensive. We didn't have it. We couldn't afford it right now. Rightfully so. She was a single mother. But my relationship with money was so skewed based off of her experience with it. And so it took me years and years and years to finally have a discussion with my husband about what our relationship with money was, what the conversations was like back when we were younger, around the family, around what we could afford at the time. But it took us many years. We were married probably 10, 15 years or so until we had this conversation and something to talk about. Because what happens is we are also making an impact on our children. And we don't even realize it until they're older. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh. But the great thing is it's never too late. It's never too late because we've had incredible conversations with our older adult children about the relationship with money, the view of money in a healthy way. And it even goes beyond money. I don't know why we have to talk about just money, but it's a relationship we have with marriage, our view on marriage. We give the children their view on marriage based off of what we talk about. It's the view on a healthy diet, what that looks like for us. I've scarred some of my older children about, they love that almond pancakes that we used to make. Awful. They will never eat them again. But we force things on them in an unhealthy way, and they grow up with this unhealthy version of what we find to be healthy. And so I think that's something to always have that open conversation with our families about. Even our faith, our religion, is something to be talked about in a healthy way.
Here's a couple of things that I want you all to ponder. Have you ever really sat down and spoke with your spouse about money, about their background? Because for me, August 30th, 1998, when we got married, that's the day my wife became financially free. She never had to think about money ever again. And for me, it's been daunting for the last 20 plus years because that's all I think about. So I was the saver. I was from an immigrant background. That's all we did was save. I don't know why we had to save for a rainy day. It was never a sunny day. It was always a rainy day. I had that negative scarcity mindset. So every time she went to that box, I would get nervous. She's taking money. She's spending money. She's wasting money. That went on for years. I don't want any of you to do that. I want you to stop after tonight and go home, have a conversation with your significant other about how you were raised with money, how it affected you growing up. And then when I stopped and I saw what her family went through, they didn't have it. They basically avoided it. So there's 5 personas that I talk about with money. It's Amy, the avoider. Are you the avoider type? Are you Sam, the saver? I was the big time saver. Problem with saving is it's great. You have money. The other problem is you're too afraid to spend it because all you think about is saving, right? Then you have Steve, the saver. Then you have George, the gambler, likes to gamble money. Cryptocurrency, in, out, right? Ivan, the investor. These are all personas. We may have a blend of them, but we may have predominantly one. And I really want you to sit there and talk with your significant other about your traumas. I mean, because we all, going back to our childhood, we heard things. We grew up in a certain way. And when I got married with my wife, like I said, it was very challenging for me. I just wanted to make enough money to become financially free, do what I'm doing now. And every time she took the money out, it really, really hurt.
The happy family. You know, a lot of people do ask us, how do you get your kids to like each other and actually want to be home and have dinner together? And it's a very common question, which to me it's strange because it's just what we have. And I think my biggest advice for anyone with children, and it could be even grandchildren, it doesn't mean that it's just confined to those kids, but sit around the table, have dinner together, and let everyone talk. Because a lot of times as parents, we monopolize the conversations. Everything's a life lesson. We don't let our children actually say what's on their mind. We kind of control it. And I think if you give them space to be who they are, to have their opinions, to speak openly, the conversation turns into beautiful, beautiful times. And also they want to come back for more because they're heard, they're seen, they're loved. And so that's my biggest advice for how to have a happy family is let everyone be part of the community, part of the table, part of the conversation. And it's really challenging at times when you have a lot of kids. Josh and Melanie, you're beyond us. But to give everyone a few minutes at the table, once you start doing it, it's unbelievable what happens.
The one thing I'll say about that, being a parent, the hardest thing for me was to say I'm sorry. Saying sorry to your kids is so powerful because it means you made a mistake. You're being transparent. You're being honest. It's still hard for me to say it, right? But that's one thing you can say. As far as money goes, one of the biggest mistakes I made with money with my kids early on is I shoved it down their throat all the time. They're 5 years old. I'm trying to make them read The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They're too young. Just start the conversation with them and be the role model. Be the parent. My son was 16 years old. He comes to me. He says, Dad, I want to buy an amplifier for my guitar. I said, Mike, how many do you have? He goes, I have 2, but I want to buy another one because this one's really a good one. I said, how much is it? He says, it's $2,000. I said, Mike, you have $5,000 in the bank. That's 40% of your net worth. I'm not going to let you buy it. They said, but it's my money, Dad. I said, yeah, but you're living in my house right now, and I'm not going to let you spend 40% of your net worth on something that you don't need. A need versus a want. That's something very important that we need to teach our children. He didn't buy it. He wore me down for 3 months. For 3 months, all I heard about was this damn amplifier. I found the deal. 6 months later, he invested his $5,000. 6 years later, he's got a 7-figure net worth from that $5,000 investment. But more importantly is his language became his experience. All of a sudden, every month he was on investment calls. He knows what owner draws are. He knows what KPIs are. He knows economic occupancy, physical occupancy. He knows how to invest. His whole mindset was changed. And if you're out there saying, well, I don't invest in real estate and I don't have a lot of money, it can only take a few bucks. Have your kids put some money in the bank, let them see some interest rolling in, and then just start the conversation. But more importantly, find something that you like to invest in. I know you're a realtor. If you like real estate, buy a single family home. Just get into it. Let them come and collect rents with you. Let them be part of the conversation. And you see in this text, I'll read the text to you. This happened about 6 months ago. Deal alert. Contract is signed by the buyer. This is me texting my kids. $9 million. I need to come up with $1,000,001 or $700,000 depending on Mike. Who's in? Everyone's texting me back. Hey, I do now. I do now. Sophia, where are you? Yeah, sure. The one that I love the best is, look at my son. Sell my car if you need to. That's a 21-year-old at the time that's saying, I want to sell the car because I want to invest money into the deal. His mindset is not to be a consumer, but to be a producer. And out of your production, you can consume. Now, if we can teach our kids that, what I like to say is people with financial intelligence can change the world for the better. I think that mindset, if we could adopt that mindset to our kids and have our kids become producers and not worry about all the consumption is secondary, but the production and the creation of value is primary, I think we've done our job as parents to teach our kids about money. Well, last one.
I think our youngest is 10. I feel like we stopped having children, and I thought, okay, well, what's next? We got to do something now. We work so well together. A lot of us are coaches, financial coaches, life coaches, wellness coaches, health coaches. I said, maybe we could start a company. And so we're starting a incredible Barbaro Heritage 360, cultivating a community of families, bringing back traditional family values of health and wellness, finance, parenting, marriage, all of the above. We're working together, which I absolutely love. It's definitely it's a little bit more challenging when you're working with your older children to separate the parent and the partnership. But it's been absolutely incredible, and I do encourage it. Yeah.
Two quick stories. Number one, I love when you talk about legacy because I was sitting with Josh about a month ago. He was up in St. Augustine, and he told me to read a book by David Green, the founder of Hobby Lobby. And my daughter is working at Hobby Lobby, the blonde right there. And talk about an amazing company, an amazing dude. His legacy is we're financial stewards. God owns everything. We ain't taking it with us. So he created a trust, makes about $1 billion a year. He gives it away. He has a small salary. And if his kids want to work, they're getting salaries. So when you think about legacy, don't only just think about the financial aspect of it. Think about the values. And you're talking about 3 and 4 generations. That's called cathedral thinking. When they built the cathedral 1,000 years ago, they were building it, but they weren't going to see it. It was being left to the next generation. If they would see it, maybe not to the next one. So think about your legacy, not just from a financial perspective, not how much money you're going to leave your kids. Make them good stewards of that through teaching them about happy money. Make them stewards about the values that you want to leave to them. That's part of what legacy to me is, right? And I love what David Green does. I'm so glad you made. I wrote the book, and I wish I had read that before because I think that's such an important component. And to us with Barbaro 360, I took out, we're going to create this company, and I've always been worried about building a business and monetizing. That's why when I come in here, I'm always looking at where can he make more money? And this company is like, you know what? This company is going to be about God's company. God's going to own this company. And I'm not going to worry about making money. I'm going to worry about trying to help families come together and work together. Because we were sitting at the bank about 3 weeks ago. We were opening up a bank account, and there was 3 kids there. We all jump in this little room, and I was profoundly happy, but I was profoundly sad at the same time. Because the banker helping us turns to me and goes, boy, you guys really like hanging out with each other. Your kids really get along. They really like you. And I just thought, he goes, very few families are like that. I'm thinking, I'm really lucky. That is just my legacy more than anything else. And when I heard him say that, I'm like, okay, because I had one foot in on the company. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to work with you guys. I don't really know how I was going to work out. I'm thinking, how am I going to make money? I'm going to have to fund this thing. I've got other things going on. But when he said that, that changed everything for me. That changed the trajectory of what I wanted to do with this company. And I think as you guys are sitting there, the key takeaways I think that we shared is think about what your happy money is. Think about what your relationship with money is. Go home, have an honest conversation with your spouse, and just say to yourself, "Hey, I made a mistake. I'm easy for me to say. I made a lot of mistakes with money," and try to work together. And try to think about what your legacy is ultimately. It's not just making money, but it's creating impact. and working towards your sole purpose and your passion.
That's awesome.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.